Hey guys, my name is Anthony, and I unfortunately got lost in top four for the NAWCQ 2026 points playoffs. I was playing Elfnote, and I was the only non-KT deck after the first round. And since I'm not playing Elfnote tomorrow for the main event, I decided to just do a deck crawl on it now. This is like what my thoughts are on the deck after playing it for a while. Some theory about the deck, and then yeah, just to spread the list. So let's move on to the deck. So for the main deck engine, obviously the self-explanatory ones: 3 Lucina, 3 Tania, 3 Regina. And then for the other one-card starters, the more controversial part, I'm playing 1 copy of Medius, 2 copies of Terminus, and 3 copies of Vidolium. I played this ratio because Vidolium can be a Terminus or a Power Patron, except Terminus plus a 6, for example, one of these two, does not beat 2 hand traps. But if I start with Vidolium first and I search, they're less likely to ash the Vidolium because they think that you're going to go for Terminus. And in this case, if I search the Power Patron plus a 6 does beat 2 hand traps a lot of the time. So my theory was if I started with Vidolium versus if I start with Terminus, the end board is still an FTK if my opponent has nothing. And if my opponent has something, they both lose to 1 hand trap, so it literally doesn't matter. But Vidolium has a higher ceiling because Vidolium has a chance to turn a hand that loses to 2 hand traps into a hand that beats 2 hand traps. So since they're all 1-card starters, I decided to max on Vidolium. And also, drawing doubles of Vidolium is also useful because if you draw a second copy in the same hand, you can pend after you inevitably search your Ronaldo, while if you draw doubles of this card, it doesn't do anything. So that's the explanation for 3 Vidolium. And then for the extenders, 1 Welcome Home, 3 of the Power Patron. After playing a lot, I decided that the 3rd Power Patron was necessary. A lot of the times, if you only had 2 Power Patron, a lot of the combos you couldn't really do. There's some combos that require you to get 2 Power Patrons out of the deck, and if you didn't have the 3rd one to summon with a Regina, for example, you'll get into very awkward situations. So I decided to play the 3, and then obviously the engine requirements: 1 of this, 1 of this, and 1 of this. And then for the non-engine, so let's start by prefacing this that going into the tournament, I foresaw that most of the competition will be on Cool Tune. I expected 10 to 11 Cool Tunes. So this non-engine is obviously very teched out for Cool Tune. So there's 3 copies of the Fualos, 3 copies of Ash, 3 copies of Harmonia. I feel like this is self-explanatory. I decided to play for the other hand traps, 2 copies of Effect Veiler, 2 copies of Ghost Bell, and then for the last slot, I didn't really know what else to play, so I played 2 copies of Contact C. This card was a card that Cool Tune used to play around by playing Shooting Riser, but now that since they play Fallen Virtuous now, a lot of them don't have the space to play that card anymore. And the way that Cool Tune plays really have changed because there's way more like KTS draw phase starts, and if they play KTS or Q and you give it to them, they're literally stuck. So as like I just need a non-engine that was good into Cool Tune, so this was like often performing better than an Ogre, so I played this. And I decided that even if I drew this against other matchups, I'm okay with it being dead, just because it's just good against Cool Tune. And then for the last non-engine, obviously, it's 3 copies of Super Poly, because I just needed more non-engine to work against Cool Tune. And then going on to the extra deck, I like to do by levels. So 6 we have them along for your Harmonia target, and then for the 7s, I play 3 of them. I play Dawn Dragster, Seraphim, and Trilesia, and Arcanine Magician. Arcanine Magician is the best removal level 7 in your deck. It's better than Black Rose. You make this way more than you think because the deck has a really big weakness of having no removal on your turn. All of your removal-based stuff is on your opponent's turn, and if your opponent just sets up a bunch of stuff on your board, a lot of times it's really hard to clear, especially like the chess stuff as well. If you don't play, like the only way you can deal with chess is Junoldo if you don't play this. But if you play this, you can just like nuke the Bastion and nuke somebody else. And then this is like a level 7 body you can go into an 8 with. I really like it. And then for the 8s, I play Excel Synchro, regular Stardust Dragon. This is the best line under Fua. Omega, Packbit as a secondary Harmonia target, and then Crippling. And then just to have a level 9 option for XL Synchro lines, I play the Croc, and then for the level 10, self-explanatory, the Chaos Angel for the Light Dark Chaos Angel line, and the June Pride. Against Light and Darkness, a lot of times you can just put them on no outs. This is a very good card that you can just like stall the game out with, and if your opponent it's very hard for Light Dark to have an out to this card. And then last but not least, the 3 Super Poly targets I played were Mixusa, Sea, Monster Theseus, and Swamp to cover the Cool Tune, Elfnote, and Brandon matchups. And then let's go into the side deck. So for the going second cards, I played 3 copies of Pot of Sloth because I played Super Poly, and being able to Super Poly for Sloth for Super Poly is very strong. I did it in one of the feature matches if you want to see. This card's very strong. And then 3 copies of Perulia as additional coverage, as well as 3 copies of Ghost Ogre against decks that like my other hand traps are bad against, I can send them in. And then a lot of decks right now are disrespecting Nib. Like for example, Elfnote and Light and Darkness are comboing in a way that doesn't play around Nib at all. So I side them in during that matchup, obviously to just like take out the contact Cs and whatnot. And like this is like a really good card to just like round out your hand trap lineup, because the issue with hand traps is hand traps synergize more with hand traps than other board breakers. So I just have to keep jamming hand traps in and hope it works. And then last but not least, the 4 going first cards are the Called By, the Crossout, the Talents, and the Judgment. I really dislike playing too many like Solemns in this deck. I feel like if I just finish my board, like I don't really need anything else to win, other than I just play all the cards that like help me protect my board. And then because I play this, that means that I don't have to like side out that many stuff. I usually leave in like a Fua. It helps my side patterns, so it's not like so extreme. And that's about it for the deck. Let me know if you guys have any questions. And yeah, I know this is like a pretty different list from what's popular right now. If you didn't understand like the ratio explanations, especially like on the Terminus stuff, feel free to like hit me up in the comments or on Discord or wherever. I can explain it further. But yeah, thank you very much for staying for the deck profile, and yeah, thank you very much.